Hello, welcome back to Math Time with Professor Prime, and I will be your host as always, Professor Prime. I like math. That's not a secret. If it was, then I don't hide it very well. That being said, I very much enjoy helping other people to see the wonder in math, like how crazy it can get, and that will always be the case. But I also want to help people see the practicality of it, see how it impacts us on a regular basis, whether we think we're using it or not, whether we think it's being used or not. So I want to take this video and get into that a little bit, and perhaps one day explore some of the concepts that I'm talking about in this video, because there's so much out there. It's insane. But that being said, let's get to it. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is just like numbers in general, like having a good number sense, how that works, the basic kind of operations that we deal with, like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponentiation, that sort of thing, and the basic rules of algebra. Knowing all that is pretty key, and knowing how percentages, decimals, and fractions work. Because oftentimes we do think of something as a whole, and we deal with different parts of that whole, and we can see that in fraction form, we can see that in decimal form, or we can see that as a percent. All of it equates to the same. So knowing how all of those works is like pretty useful. That being said, if we explore things outside of just the math itself, um, just having that number sense, it pays off in things like cooking, for instance, knowing exact measurements. And then if you want to expand, like you see a lot of things in the outside world, the buildings that we're in, the machines that are in them, all of that uses a lot of math, right? Like, but if we want to kind of zone in on some things, if I pay taxes, and I do, we all do, then most likely I'm using a service, right? But the truth is, some of the processes behind calculating your taxes, they're not that bad, and you can easily find them. I myself know how to do them, but I still use the service because it's convenient and it helps get the job done and smooth and out there. But for me, it pays to know how it's done, so I have some ballpark to see if they're accurate. But and outside of that, like if you look at voting, for instance, right? There's a lot of math in that and in voting systems, so it's interesting to look at how all that works out. Um, and then if you're looking at some other fields, like you're looking at psychology or you're looking at history and things along those lines, like statistics are going to come up. Knowing how that works and how we do data analysis is pretty key. Looking at probability as well, anywhere from just seeing the likelihood of something happening, just in general, to looking at risk management, looking at how insurance works, kind of taking the behind the scenes tour of that. And then that also, when you look at math, it impacts our entertainment. It impacts our creative side as well. Because when you're creative, yes, you're looking to do something new, you're looking to do something different, but chances are you've learned something that had a structure to it. And math is anywhere from dancing to writing a song to playing an instrument. It's all over that world. And the same could be said about writing a paper, using logic, constructing things in a way that you want to go. It's all there. Um, sure, there was a more eloquent way to say it than that, but my whole point is that it impacts us all. And one of the big things that I wanted to talk about while I'm on the video is one of the most popular subjects over time that doesn't go away is exponential growth and exponential decay. And that can be very useful too. Even if we have something that doesn't fit a model perfectly, we can have a good idea of what's going on. And understanding being that, things can change in the real world, uh, you know, stuff happens. But I mention that because we're in the middle of some pretty crazy stuff right now. And a few weeks ago, there was a lot of talk about, what we can do to flatten the curve. And I mean, some people, they were able to get what that means. And I feel like knowing a little something about math helps with that too. because you can kind of see where they got the idea from, and it could be useful to see how like bacteria spreads, how viruses spread, all of that. We can have an idea based on math. It impacts us from how a virus spreads to how the economy runs. It's everywhere, whether you're using it directly or not. And chances are you're using it directly, even if you don't always realize it. Um, Not that I'm trying to preach about it, just saying that it's everywhere. And I think that knowing more about math and how it functions, even on a basic level, will help you out in the world. Because the truth is, in the world that we live in, right, we use math all the time. It's very much centered around that. And I think it's useful to just know, but also just to make sure you don't get got, or maybe so you can know something a little better. If you're running a business, you'll certainly need to know math. If you're exploring options, whether you realize it or not, the math's there too. So that being said, I hope this was informative. I hope this was helpful. I hope someone got something out of it. And I'll see you all in the next one. Professor Prime out.